part of America and the world, but America in particular, we need to get ready. Now listen to me, I've told you about the tribulation, and our best days are behind us unless you're a member of the elect. The worst is yet to come. We need to get ready for civil war in America. Don't let it catch you unsurprised. All the signs of the fact that Tribulation Trump is preparing for civil war, and not just that, but his base is preparing for civil war, they're ready to go. You need to understand that, first of all, if it gets to November 3rd and Tribulation Trump does not win the November 3rd, 2020 election, he is not going to give up the seat of the presidency. He'll call it a fake election. And then if anyone tries to move against him, it'll be very difficult because for whatever reason, and I'm sure it's satanic, Tribulation Trump has the power of influence and persuasion over the military. And if Joe Biden or whoever it is, or Hillary Clinton or whoever it is that wins the 2020 election, they will not have a military, not really to unseat Trump. For whatever reason, Trump, listen to me, his satanic powers are so incredible. He is able to make what potentially would have been good people off of it. For instance, like the Center for Disease Control is now putting out skimpy commands about what one should do regarding a meat processing plants or the meat processing plants, where they should usually give strict orders. He's corrupted Mike Pompeo, he's corrupted a whole lot of people brought them into his web of utter destruction, of dishonesty, lie. He's corrupted Fox News. He potentially could corrupt the military, and you might have, sections of the military fighting with one another. But Trump is getting ready. If he loses, he's getting ready for a civil war. Now, the other, here in America, let me show you what Trump did the other day. He was down there at Washington, D.C., in front of the Lincoln Memorial, which he should have never been allowed to do, sit there in front of the Lincoln Memorial and give an interview with Fox News, which was really an infomercial about his presidency. He should never be allowed to do that, but he did. He was able to get the Secretary of the Interior to grant that. Look at this. Look at that. You've never seen any president ever do that. Now, why Lincoln? Why not Jefferson? Why Lincoln? The reason why Lincoln, he's sitting there with Lincoln, he wants to say to his base and to the rest of the world, Lincoln presided over the Civil War in America, and I will preside over the Second Civil War. That's what the segment is called, the Second Civil War. He's saying, I will preside over Lincoln and I will be historical figures of presiding over the greatest bloodshed in America in the Second Civil War. You need to understand that's exactly what he's doing. That's exactly what he is planning. And his base loves it. The other day up in Lansing, Michigan, there was a protest up in Lansing by the MAGA hat wearers who walked into the state capitol building in Michigan and Lansing brandishing AR-15s. Now, it's legal. You can do it. It's just unethical. But they were in the state capitol brandishing the AR-15. Now, these are protesters, right? I remember when the Black Panthers were out in front of the Philadelphia voting center with their rifles as well. And the press picked up on that. But these boys, they're protesting the fact that the Michigan governor, Whitmer, has shut down the economy in Michigan. And they went there with their AR-15. It's legal. And Trump gave some very encouraging words to them. You see those signs, live free or die? They are getting ready for civil war. These boys want to shoot. these boys want to shoot. And, if Trump is not reelected, we're in civil war. And we need to understand that he's preparing for this entire process, and America needs to get ready for it. But I'll tell you in a few moments as well is that not just only is Trump getting ready for civil war. I'm not a historian. That's not really my main subject matter of discourse. But I know that South Carolina succeeded from the nation that started the first Civil War. And, over the last, at the election of Barack Hussein, the long-legged Mac-Dead Obama, the state of Texas talked quite a bit about succeeding from the nation. By succeeding, I mean, we got 49 states, right? If Texas decide, I'm no longer going to be, a state within the United States, I'm going to pull out and be an independent Texarkana or whatever. That's called succession from the actual, because we got started with the 13 states rather, and then we began to grow until we incorporated California and then Alaska and Hawaii. But here's what's happening now. What Governor Cuomo is doing here in New York, and one might say he's got good reason for doing it, he's put together a 7-state coalition in order to be able to do what the federal government ought to be able to do in terms of the Defense Production Act, of purchasing supplies and materials and uniting to help each other in the process of going through this coronavirus. He's put together this 7-state coalition. It's Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Delaware, Maryland, New York, Connecticut. And they're all put together now as a Northeast, if you will, consortium of states, which in effect really is also a form of withdrawal from the United States. Mr. Engineer, could you flip that again, run it, and let it start from the beginning where Cuomo was talking? But my point is this: is that the Heartland states and the MAGA hat states, the red states, right? They have all but succeeded, in word from the United States, and Trump is stoking that. But quietly as it's kept, Cuomo was doing the same thing. And he's urging Gavin Newsom in California on the East Coast to form a consortium with California, Oregon, and Washington. I mean, you got to watch this very carefully. We're headed for civil war. Mr. Engineer, roll that segment. I'll just let Cuomo tell you himself what he's doing. Roll that clip again.
New York State alone buys about $2 billion of medical supplies this year. $2 billion this year. And that's one state. And that's us purchasing from China and around the world. We're going to form a consortium with our 7 Northeast partner states, which buy about $5 billion worth of equipment and supplies. That will then increase our market power when we're buying. And we will buy as a consortium, price as a consortium for PPE equipment, ventilators, medical equipment, whatever we need to buy when you put all those hospitals together, all that public health capacity together, which will make us more competitive in the international marketplace. And I believe it will save taxpayers money.
Now, I mean, you can talk about the grandiose ideas and the efficacy of the charitable works and, it's necessary and the saving of money, etc. But when it comes down to it, the 7 states joining together is a succession from the federal guidelines and from the federal government. It's a succession. It's real. And you can say, well, he's prompted by, what Trump is doing. I want to argue against you there. I won't say you're wrong. I won't say he's wrong. I just want to point out that not only is Trump and his base succeeding from the national federal government, but Cuomo is doing basically the same thing, and he's urging the western states to do the same thing. So you got this East Coast, West Coast consortium where you'll have 10 states where all of the major Democrat voters live, because that's basically where they live within those 7 consortium of states, right? And then on the West Coast, you got California, Oregon, and Washington, D.C. So we're headed. We're already in a civil war. We just haven't fired on Fort Sumter yet. No, we're in a civil war. And Trump is the perfect person to have this. He is tribulation. You don't like that right now. You may not necessarily appreciate that right now. But you're going to appreciate it better by and by. We are in a civil war. But it doesn't stop there. No, there's more. Yeah? What could be more? The other thing is that the media is at war, right? We got Fox News, and we got a consortium, Sinclair Broadcasting, right, which is a television and small media groups, especially in the Heartland. Let me say this to you. There's going to be death in the Heartland. They're now prognosticating that by August, some of the models I think that have been developed by the Penn Wharton budget model have described or stated that between now and August, 135,000 to potentially 240,000 people will die by August from the coronavirus event. They put that together, and most of those deaths are going to take place in the Heartland, in the Heartland states between the 2 East Coast and West Coast, where mainly you have most Trump voters and red cap wearers. Truman Capote, y'all know him? Yeah, he's was. I don't know if he's still alive. He wrote this book called Breakfast at Tiffany's. I started reading it, I couldn't get with it. But he wrote another book that was spellbinding called In Cold Blood. And it was about 2 young boys that went into this house of this innocent farm family out in the Heartland and killed them in cold blood. It's a gripping, in fact, one young man, I think it was, a gripping story about the murder in the Heartland. And what, as we now look at the Civil War, the second Civil War that's coming, that there's going to be, by the way, you ought to read that book. If you got a lot of time now on your hand. Truman Capote is an excellent writer. Even though I don't like his lifestyle, the boy can write. And you might even like reading Breakfast at Tiffany's. I don't particularly like that. It's too squishy for me. But we are in a media war. What's going to happen is that the next segment and the wave of major deaths are going to happen in the Heartland, in Nebraska, in Iowa, South Dakota, in Indiana, Ohio, in Arkansas, that's really East Coast, but in Oklahoma, in Texas. The mayor of Gallup, New Mexico, on this past Friday declared a state of emergency and quarantined the entire city of Gallup, New Mexico, right there on the border of the state of Arizona. And Gallup, New Mexico is a European city right in the middle of the Navajo nations. 4 major Navajo, Sioux, Cheyenne tribes surround Gallup, New Mexico. And there's so many people dying in Gallup, New Mexico, that he quarantined and wouldn't let nobody go in, let nobody go out. You thought you were in Wuhan, China, what the mayor of New Mexico, of the Gallup, New Mexico was able to do, and got the governor of New Mexico to do it. And many people in the Sioux and this Navajo, Cheyenne nation are also dying from the coronavirus. So you're going to see the next big wave of deaths of the potential 240,000 people that will die between now and August. It's going to be in the Heartland. And so that within itself is going to prompt many of the people that are in favor of the Civil War to get ready to go to war. But the other thing is that you got the media wars. You got Fox News now, Sinclair Broadcasting, Salem Media, TBN, and a lot of other these broadcasters that are all on Trump's team. That's on Trump. They're on the WASP team, of the white supremacist team. And they believe in their cause. They believe in their cause. They believe that America has gone down the tube They believe that America has become Sin City, corrupt, immigrants, people who've come and have now reaping the fruit of their father's labor who built this nation. Well, actually, the slave built the nation. We were talking about labor. We got to go back over there first. But you understand. They believe the neighbor, and in this area, they're certainly right, that America is becoming a sissy nation, man marrying man, women killing babies, drugs everywhere, government supporting everything, the people that, So to some degree, they have a valid argument. And they're ready to take America back from the so-called socialists, liberals, and everybody. So we're on the brink of civil war. In fact, the civil war has started. We just haven't had any shots fired as of yet. But the thing that I think is going to put a chill on this civil war is that the number of deaths that you're going to find in the Heartland. I mean, there are going to be a whole lot of people dying. Now, New York may cool off for a while in terms of death, with Jersey. But out there in Nebraska, and Wyoming and Colorado, and Wisconsin, and you're gonna see people gonna die. No, they're gonna die. And so we need to get ready for how to deal with all that's coming. So I'm of the mindset here of helping us to get prepared for the next civil war. And Trump, Trump has to either win. And if he wins in 2020, which most of the people who support him know he can't win in 2020, they know that he can't. But he has to win in 2020 and potentially can save himself. Because if Trump loses if Trump loses on November 3rd, he's going to jail. By the way, I heard they were talking about letting Michael Cohen out of prison because of coronavirus in the prisons that he's up there in Otisville. And they're going to let him out. I haven't heard anything more about that. He's out? Home arrest. Oh, he's on home arrest. Well, good for Michael. But no, the Trump goes to jail. They got indictments up the wazoo waiting on that boy. He's up against the wall, and he's becoming more desperate as it goes along. The other day, Trump's talking about telling people to drink Clorox. Can we somehow or another get disinfectant under the skins of people? He's under a lot of pressure. I mean, that boy is in deep trouble. And he's looking for anything to put him out because, this coronavirus is killing people. Imagine what they're now saying, that you're going to have 3,000 people every day die from June 1st to August 1st. That's June and July. In a period of 60 days, you're going to have 3,000 people die every day. In 9/11, only 2,977 people died. You're going to have more people die every day from coronavirus until August 1st. And not 3,000 that will be dead, but you're going to have 200,000 people per day that will be afflicted with this virus. This virus is a mean mamma jamma. I don't know if I should call it a mamma jamma. Sometimes I like to use that in a positive way. This virus is a mean something. 200,000 people every day in America. That means you're going to have 3 million people a month that will be affected. And many of those people will die. This is a bit of a news blog we do, looking at spiritual wickedness in high places for the most part, making some observations about it and giving people a biblical foundation to the way of interpreting, rather than have Sean Hannity or Laura Ingraham or Janine Pirro or Anderson Cooper or Rachel Maddow or Don Lemon, Rush Limbaugh interpret what's going on in the world. You come to me and I'll tell you based on what the Word of God says. They'll just give you their worldly, sinful view. But the Manning Report will tell you what God has said, whether to say yea or nay, whether to go or to stay. You'll be led by the word of Almighty God. Come to the Manning Report on a daily basis to interpret the spiritual wickedness in high places, because there's plenty of it that's going on. And so I'm the Lord's servant, James David, righteous rebel Manning, and I'm here to serve you with news and information.